All right, I call this meeting to order. We're going to go into executive session. The City Council for the City of McLendon-Chisholm, Texas reserves the right to convene into executive session at any time during the course of this meeting to discuss any of the matters listed as authorized by Texas Government Code Chapter 551, 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, real property, 551.073, prospective gifts, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, security devices, 551.086, utility competitive matters, and 551.087, economic development negotiation. Specifically, 2.1, the City of McLendon-Chisholm City Council will recess into executive sessions to consult with the attorney as authorized by 551.0712 of the Texas Government Code, to wit, to Glen Acres subdivision petition to the City of McLendon-Chisholm to convert the private roads of the subdivision into a city-owned and maintained road. We'll go into executive session now. All right, council's back from executive session. It is 8:37 PM. 6:37, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong number there. Thank you. Yeah, it did seem long. All right, we're going to proceed on with the agenda. First thing up is invocation and pledge. Mr. Holland, would you say the prayer for us?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. We thank you so much for your son. We especially remember this is the time of year that we think about that. We remember that all the way back in Micah 5, you promised that we would have a Savior. You promised that he would be born in Bethlehem. You work in the smallest of places, the most insignificant of places, and we thank you so much that you remember us. We thank you that you are a God who makes promises and a God who keeps promises. I thank you for the opportunity I have to serve this council. I thank you for the opportunity I have to work with this staff and to also, by extension, serve the citizens. We thank you that they're here today. We just ask that your wisdom, your guidance, your mercy, and your compassion will be on this council as they make decisions, and also the mercy and the compassions of the people will understand what the council is doing, what they've given up to serve them and be part of this community. We ask you just watch over us this evening and get us home safely. In your son's name we pray. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. God bless Texas.
All righty. We don't have, okay, so rules of decorum. We have a couple of public hearings tonight as well as citizen comments. If you're wishing to speak under the citizen comments section, please make sure to fill out a form and pass it to Angela. The public hearings will call those out and have folks come up one at a time. And as Mayor McNeil usually does, and I'll do it the same thing, is dedicate a meeting to a fallen hero. In this case, it's Private First Class Alfred Vaquerano. He was killed in action in 2011 to 2012. He was in December 13th, 2011. And he was in the I-41 infantry. So God bless him, and thank you for our freedoms to be able to do what we can do tonight. All right, Angela, we don't have any proclamations, so Angela, you want to read the first public hearing?
Public hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Building Regulations of the Code of Ordinances by adding Article 3.09 entitled Short-Term Rentals. The proposed ordinance establishes regulations for the registration, permitting, and operations of short-term rental properties within the city. It provides enforcement and penalty provisions, outlines operational and safety standards, and ensures compliance with hotel occupancy tax requirements in accordance with Chapter 351 of the Texas Tax Code.
Okay, I'll call this public hearing into order at 6:40 p.m. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on this matter? Okay, start with Sherry.
Okay. All right, technical difficulties. Hi, I'm Sherry London, 216 Harvest Ridge Drive. Mayor and council, I want to start with what I support because I believe we all want the same thing, peaceful neighborhoods that feel like home. And without some kind of short-term rental ordinance, it's the Wild West. So we need some guardrails to protect neighborhood peace, but without unduly limiting the liberty and property rights. So I support noise limits to protect people who want to sleep and sit on their porches, parking rules that keep roads safe for the kids who are playing and people walking their dogs, trash standards so weekends don't look like cleanup days, requiring safety equipment like smoke alarms and CO detectors, and maybe most importantly, having a 24/7 local contact when problems arise. These are common sense protections for neighbors without assuming every visitor is a spring break crowd. But I would further ask council to consider adding language that would further protect single-family residential neighborhoods, to only allow short-term rental of a guest house or detached structure on the property while the owner was occupying the main structure, and short-term rental of rooms while the owner was occupying the main structure. This alone would ensure that the paying guests would be respectful and preserve the single-family residential neighborhood. In my opinion, if we're going to allow people to rent out their houses, we've turned a residential neighborhood into a commercial neighborhood, and I think we need to be careful about that. I bought my house expecting to get to know the families around me, not have a rotating cast of characters every 30 days. So for me, a zoning of single family should be about single family or extended family occupying the property and not a commercial operation. I also ask for reconsideration in the language that goes beyond preserving neighborhood character and moves into restricting normal homeowner freedom. The 1,000-foot separation rule, the annual permit renewal, and detailed record-keeping provisions that treat a private home like a hotel business, I don't think that level of oversight matches the scale of this community and the demand for short-term rentals in this community, and risks creating more tension than it solves. We are not a tourist destination. People aren't flocking here on vacation. But if there is a short-term rental market here in Rockwall County, we need to keep residential areas residential and not risk turning them into commercial operations incompatible with the quiet enjoyment of their neighbors. I believe McLendon-Chisholm can strike a balance between protecting the families who live here full-time and preserving the quiet, single-family nature of our neighborhoods while not over-regulating those who choose to do short-term rentals. Let's adopt what clearly preserves peace and then rethink anything that's overreach. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Yes, ma'am. Amy? And make sure you identify yourself and your residence, please.
Hi, my name's Amy Hall, and I live at 211 Tucker Road. Thank you, Mayor and Council and everyone. I support a reasonable regulation of short-term rentals, but the ordinance must treat small local hosts fairly, whether we are on-site or occasionally away. The positive impacts that I find for this proposed ordinance are formal registration legitimizes responsible short-term rentals and removes illegal operators. City-backed rules such as quiet hours, parking, and trash protect the neighborhoods, and I already enforce these in my current neighborhood. Owner-occupied hosts are the best self-regulators when home, but many of us travel for work or family and still need to keep our listings active. A couple of negative impacts that I do find with the way it's currently written is $200 to $300 annual permit plus inspections would equal anywhere from 8 to 12% of my gross revenue for a small 2-bedroom home share. Strict occupancy caps hurt family reunion bookings that are common, such with us being close to Oasis Pickleball, the lake, weddings, which are the majority of the short-term rentals that we do see in this area. And my specific request would be to add and amend the ordinance to tier the permit fees for owner-occupied units under 3 bedrooms, whether the owner is temporarily on or off-site. Also, I would ask that you allow short-term rentals to continue operating if the property owner is away or works on long trips, as long as it's listed as a co-host or a 24/7 contact is provided. And this is already standard in Airbnb, if you're familiar with it, and works safely nationwide in all Airbnb properties that are listed. And also a 6 to 12-month grace period with reduced fees for existing complaint-free households, which we are. I would also like to exempt live-in hosts from neighbor notification rules, since they are in the home. So there's several different types of Airbnbs. You stay in the home with the family, you stay in an annexed guest house, or it's a separate complete residential place that is rented out. And I would also ask that you potentially permit 1 to 2 extra guests, because there are many Airbnb properties that provide sofa pull-out couches and air mattresses for additional guests to be on property. Banning rentals, which you guys aren't, but outside of an adjacent home when it would actually punish people such as teachers, nurses, military families, or anyone that travels or uses their home as short-term rental while doing basically nothing to improve safety. Responsible local owners, in my opinion, should be able to keep their homes listed even if they're gone or if they rent a separate home to arbitrage. A responsible co-host needs to be in place. I'm your neighbor, not an investor, and I want fair, common-sense rules that will let small McLendon-Chisholm families supplement their income without being forced to shut down every time something happens to take us out of town. Thank you for protecting our community and being very respectful to residents like myself. Amy Hall, a 4.98 superhost, 0 complaints in 3 years, local co-host available 24/7 when I travel, and home for your future Airbnb stays. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? Mr. London?
Okay. Dennis London, I'm at 216 Harvest Ridge. So I'm in complete agreement that the city needs a short-term rental ordinance. And when I was in Austin testifying against the accessory dwelling units and all of those bills associated, I heard literally hours upon hours of testimony, a lot of which were horror stories, because it's usually what you hear is the people go down there to complain. There were some successes, but a lot of them were horror stories about short-term rentals in places specifically like Fredericksburg, down by the wineries, and then other tourist destinations throughout Texas. I'm well aware of what can happen, and yes, we need to protect property rights, but we need to protect them on both sides of the fence, for the owners as well as for the neighbors. My North Star is simple. We want to protect the neighborhoods, but we want to limit government, not the people. And this ordinance gets several things right. The noise limits, the parking rules, trash standards, safety devices, and a 24/7 contact. All of that fairly protects the quiet enjoyment. But we need refinement where the ordinance crosses from protecting neighbors into managing private residential use as if it were a commercial lodging business. The most significant piece that I see is the example in here about the hotel occupancy tax classification. We need to be very careful with this. When a private residence is defined as a hotel for tax purposes, it's treated as a hotel for regulatory purposes. That opens the door to hotel inspections, hotel code standards, commercial lodging compliance, not because the home has changed, but because its legal classification has changed. Texas designed the hotel occupancy taxes for cities with commercial lodging markets and convention tourism infrastructures, not for rural residential short-term rental patterns. McLendon-Chisholm does not have any of those systems, so adopting the hotel occupancy taxes just imports regulation which is disproportionate to our scale and to our character. If permitting and enforcement requires staff time, I fully support fees that allow the city to recoup those costs, but I adamantly oppose imposing hotel occupancy taxes. It just doesn't fit with our city charter or our character. And I really think we can take steps to prevent noise and nuisance without converting homeowners into ongoing hotel-type permittees. I do have some things listed that we could change. Removing hotel occupancy tax, strike the 1,000-foot spacing rule, because all property owners have rights, not just the ones that we allow, because one will impose on the other. Replace annual renewals with a one-time registration unless there's a nuisance violation. Limit records, access, or inspections to initial permitting, and then only to incidents where there is an actual complaint or other due process triggers. Set objective revocation standards so enforcement is predictable and fair. We need to be fair with this. Quiet enjoyment does matter, but so does liberty. Tonight, what I'm going to talk about is fixing what overreaches while keeping what protects. And that's what I'm talking about. The balance keeps McLendon-Chisholm a neighborhood, not a hotel licensing district. So my vote is against this until some elements are removed and council has adequate time to reflect on the revised version of the ordinance. So thank you all for my time.
Thank you, Councilman London. Anybody else? All right. This hearing is over at 6:51 p.m. Angela?
Public hearing to consider the establishment of the Willow Creek Planned Development District on approximately 360.30 acres of land located within and adjacent to the city limits of McLendon-Chisholm. The property is generally located behind City Hall, extending across portions of Klutz Road between Smith Road and State Highway 205, and includes a portion fronting FM 550. The proposed PD zoning is associated with the annexation of subject property into the city and is intended to assign a zoning designation consistent with the associated annexation and development agreements.
I call this hearing into play at 6:52 PM. Does anybody wish to speak on it? This one.
Sherry London, 216 Harvest Ridge. Since we have an opportunity for public hearing on this development, I'd just like to say I've been in this chamber seeing these guys present various iterations of this. In the most recent one, they talked about all of the changes they made in relation to talking to city council and city staff and trying to stay with what we were going for here in McLendon-Chisholm, and I appreciate that. I especially like their wider lot fronts, giving that uniform lot front, which keeps it from looking dense and crowded. And I mentioned this to the developers during your executive session, but I will say it to you guys here. As a citizen, my problem with density is not how close people are living with each other. If they want to live 5 feet away from each other, that's on them. My problem with density is how many cars per acre. So if you've got 100 acres and you want to put 100 homes in one corner, that's fine if people are up for that. It's more, for me, it's about cars because that's livability, traffic, infrastructure, and burden. So while this is not true 1 acre per lot, it comes very close to that standard. Most of it's ETJ, not all of it's in the city. And I think they did a great job trying to get what we are going for here in McLendon-Chisholm. And so I want to commend them and thank you for your attention to keeping us not being dense and overrun with cars and getting developers to be on board with the look and feel that we're going for here. And I think this is an example of a developer that's really worked hard to deliver that for the city, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sherry. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Just when you get up there, just identify yourself and where you live.
Hello, I'm Rocky Martin. I live on 630 Klutz Road. And so obviously this development is going to affect me and the property that I own. And so, my concerns are, I bought this land, over 6 years ago. This is a piece of property. This area is very unique. And if anyone's driven down Klutz Road, you can get that feeling when you come down the road. And so that's part of the reason why I purchased the property. Since I've had it, I've built wetlands on my property. I'm big into habitat and wildlife and things like that. And so I've created this habitat here on my property. And I've got deer on the property, I've got wild pigs, I get eagles that come through occasionally, I've got owls, I've got possums, armadillos, bobcats, coyotes. And my concern, one of the main reasons I came out here is I didn't want to be living somewhere where people are on top of me. And, I know the guys, we talked up front, the developer and everything. They've been very cordial, very professional and everything. But I don't like the plan now that we're looking at. Surely, it looks like we're 2 or 3 houses per acre, technically. And I'm concerned about, the high density, because to me, that's high density. In the mornings, I work out of my house, and between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., you should see the amount of traffic that's going down Klutz Road now. And the road's not even wide enough for 2 cars to pass each other going the speed limit. And to make things even worse, let's look at Smith Road. That development got put in over there. The roads have done nothing but deteriorate. And so you can't drive the speed limit on Smith Road. If you do, you're going to get thrown through the ceiling of your car. There's trash littered up all over the side of the road on Smith Road from the development that got put in. And there's trash all up and down Clutch Road. You know, and I pick up trash 2 or 3 times a year. And, you know, and my property, part of my property, I'm in the city limits. And so, you know, my biggest concern is, you know, what services are we going to get? If these developments come in, what's it going to do for the residents? But, you know, I just have a lot of concern about it. On part of my property, you know, where my wetlands are, I'm not enthused. If you look at the development, there's 2 little arms that come down there, and in between are private landowners that have big pieces of property. And we're going to be looking up on a stretch of property that's going to be 20 or 30 houses there now. And, you know, one of the reasons that got me to McLendon-Chisholm was if you wanted land and you wanted wide open spaces, come to McLendon-Chisholm. And so I don't know what the rules are on, like, you know, houses per acre and all this, that, and the other. I know Sonoma Verde came in, and it is what it is. But I know that Brushy Creek that comes through my property, it was dried up probably 2 months ago. No water running through it. Hadn't had any rain anytime soon. I walk over there, and the creek's running for no reason. I don't know where that water's coming from, whether it's a sewer plant upstream, you know. So I would hope that we would consider maybe looking at some surveys on the environmental outpack of things, because our wildlife resources are just dwindling. We don't have a lot around here, but, you know, hopefully there's not an impact on that. But we just don't have the facilities out right here right now with all the developments coming in. If you figure there's 2 cars per household, where are we all going to fit? And so more so than anything, it's like the integrity of the community. We don't want more high density places. That's why we moved out here. And so my property is very unique out here. We had a Facebook post, and someone, I don't know, I think it was one of the council members, had suggested that I go buy more land. Well, I bought 50 acres out here, you know, and so I love the community. I love everything else. I understand growth is part of just the way things are, more population, more people, but I really think we should look at this long and hard on some of the decisions that we're making on letting these developments come in. And so just for the integrity of the citizens in the community. And I know that their subdivision, when they get finished, it'll be nice and everything, but do we want all these houses? And so, you know, I'm concerned about my property now. I'm concerned about the traffic. It's already terrible in the morning. And so everybody cuts through Clutch Road now because 205 is backed up from Rockwall to Terrell. And so, you know, I don't know if there's a way to slow the growth down but, you know, for the people that already live here, we're living on these roads and these conditions here. And these developments coming in are putting more and more pressure on the people that live here to make the money. You know, and these PIDs and these MUDs, it's a profit center for them. It never goes away, but the people pay for it. So I know whatever y'all decide, whatever you decide, but being a landowner, just as the crow flies here, you know, I hope that you make the right decisions, you know, and I do have some concerns on the impact of, you know, what little bit of wildlife that we do have around here. And so it may not mean a lot to some people, but it means a lot to me. And so, but anyway, so that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's David Black. I'm at 1419 Sienna Lane, McLendon-Chisholm. Top reason why people move to McLendon-Chisholm has been its rural look and open spaces. We have heard this for years. Perhaps the most clever idea was to control the residential lot size. If it is large enough, it can accomplish a lot. It mitigates against too rapid of growth. It slows the inevitable increase of stress on our infrastructure. With a single home on a large lot, there is a lot of open space. The people have preferred to use, on that topic, the people have preferred to use private residences to accomplish the open space idea. And FYI, a read of the McLendon-Chisholm Comprehensive Plan will tell you what I just said and a lot more. It's dated September 29, 2021. It's a very thorough review of what the people want here and their plans and desires. It was an update. The 2021 was an update of the 2016 plan. I believe the Willow Creek developer has come up with a good conceptual plan for a high-density residential community. In my opinion, they are far better than the other two active high-density communities going at either end. Nevertheless, their best concept, even though this violates the comprehensive plan, their best concept was the October 2025 version. There was a minimum lot size of 1/2 acre with a mix of larger lots up to 1 acre or larger. But then the city asked this developer to take the burden of replacing Klutz Road with 2 lanes of concrete and prepped for a 4-lane in the future. The cost of adding was, we were told, was only 30 lots. Technically, that's true, but the composition of the lots changed a lot. The October concept had built on all the buildable land. Therefore, the minimum lot size of 1/2 acre was lowered to 1/3 acre, so they could squeeze in these additional lots. Now a majority of residential lots are under 1/2 acre, which is a pretty big change from what their October plan was. I was confused when the developer said their October 2025 plan had met the city's lot density requirement. The city said it was close by declaring a density of 1.15 dwelling units per acre. This is incorrect. They are using gross acreage, which is what the developer uses, which is their choice, that's fine, while the McLendon-Chisholm comprehensive plan uses net acreage. That is the best way to measure lot density by removing non-buildable land from the calculation. A summary explanation of this is found on page 39 of the plan. For instance, quote, maximum density of 1 dwelling unit per acre, exclusive of floodplains and rights of way. That's where you subtract. So the actual density is about double what we were told. So we were told the density is 1.15. It's really over 2 units per acre. Two-thirds are in the city limits. I don't know if that matters or not. I was somewhat struck by the previous gentleman's comment about environmental concerns. I hope at least we look and find out where that water was coming from. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Anybody else? All right. Public hearing is closed at 7:05 p.m. Next, we have citizens' comments. I have one request to speak. Up here is Mr. Nickel regarding item 9.2.
I'm Gary Nickel at 612 Kentwood. If you got a copy of the page that I submitted yesterday, you can ignore that. I've condensed what I have to make it shorter. I'm opposed to the approval of any request to provide financial backing from the city for private road repairs for the following reasons. The city is not set up to operate as a bank using surplus funds now or in the future with unknown sources of revenue. Processing loans, collecting payments, and chasing unpaid debts should not be dumped on the current staff. For bad loans, additional costs would accrue for legal fees and writing letters. Worst case, the city couldn't collect until the properties were sold to satisfy the liens. Available surplus would quickly be depleted upon approval of multiple requests for help, and residents whose roads don't need repairing yet could end up paying higher taxes with no benefit to themselves. Without higher taxes, the city would be entirely dependent upon building permits, which could dry up quickly in a down market. And finally, without sufficient tax revenue, the city might feel pressured to approve new housing developments in order to collect building permit fees from permits and to give concessions to land developers who would then have the upper hand in negotiations. Please vote no on this application and consider deleting the process ASAP to eliminate future requests. That's the end of my comments, but I have a letter from a neighbor who is 84 years old and is unable to attend tonight. He writes that they've been residents for 20 years and love it here, but they're concerned about traffic problems, water, and unchecked growth. But to focus on the question at hand, he's concerned that we don't have our own police force, we don't have our own trash service, much less road repair crews and equipment. So his suggestion is if you want someone to build roads, borrow from a bank and build them. His name is Leonard Jarvis. I'll provide a letter to the secretary. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nickel. I don't have another form up here, but does anybody else wish to speak? Okay. Citizen comments are closed. Next up is the consent agenda. And it's the only thing on the consent agenda is considering approving minutes from November 10th, 2025 City Council meeting. Unless one of the council members want to pull it for further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we consider approving the minutes from November 10th, 2025 City Council meeting.
Second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Motion passes. All right, now we go into items for the main agenda, items for discussion. Angela?
Discuss and consider an ordinance annexing approximately 19.325 acres of land, 6 tracts located in the W.W. Ford Survey, abstract number 80, Rockwall County, Texas, into the corporate city limits of the city of McLendon-Chisholm.
Thank you, Angela. Did I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Mr. Cabona.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. This item before you this evening is regarding the city receiving petitions for voluntary annexation from the owners of 6 properties located within the city's ETJ. The properties collectively comprise approximately of 19.3 acres of land and include tracts 26, 31, 33, 35, 37, and 39. The petitions were received by the city on July 20th, 2025, in accordance with Chapter 43 of the Texas Local Government Code, which authorizes municipalities to annex territory into their corporate limits when such action is petitioned by property owners and meets statutory criteria. A public hearing was held at the September 9th, 2025 council meeting to receive comments for the proposed annexation. Staff does recommend approval of the ordinance as presented With that said, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Okay. And I recognize a couple of owners, if council has any questions for them. So I'll go down the line. Mr. London?
I'm good.
I do not.
With no further discussion on that, I'll take a vote. Angela, you want to set up we'll do this, we're going to try to use the technology we paid for, so. All right. All those ready to vote? Mine didn't show up either.
We can say we don't need the other two guys. We got three. That's all we need.
All right, motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on.
Discuss and consider action on Glen Acre subdivision petition to the city of McLendon-Chisholm to convert the private roads of the subdivision into city-owned and maintained roads.
Thank you, Angela. Mr. Cabona?
On July 8th, 2025, City Council adopted an ordinance, ordinance number 2025-17, that allowing private streets to be converted into public streets upon petition by property owners or homeowner associations, and approval by the City Council. Following the adoption of that ordinance, the property owners of the Glen Acres subdivision submitted a petition requesting the conversion of the private streets known as Briar Glen Drive, Meadow Drive, and Glen Acres Drive into public streets. The conversion of these streets to public streets will allow the city to assume ownership and maintenance responsibilities. However, the initial improvements and construction costs to bring the streets to city standard will be shared with the property owners under the estimated final cost. Staff does recommend approval of this item as presented. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Fabrice. And I recognize Ms. Hildreth from the neighborhood, in case council has questions for her. I guess we'll just go down the line, starting with Mr. London.
You always start with me. I have no questions, thank you.
No questions.
Mr. Dean.
No questions, but just want to reiterate, I mean, it's kind of been talked about a lot, but in determining my thoughts on this, there were a lot of things that kind of came up, and it is really what do they not get? And even though they, if we've annexed those others, then all of them are paying McLendon-Chisholm tax, but they don't get a lot of what McLendon-Chisholm has to offer. For them, we have to offer slower fire, police, EMS service. I'm not sure if we all paid our McLendon-Chisholm tax, we'd be happy with that. They couldn't participate in the trash pickup. Trash truck wouldn't go down. Meals on Wheels, those type of services are opting out to deliver there. Package deliveries delayed if you even get it. And lastly, school bus service, which I was afraid that the school buses didn't want to go down the road, and they don't. But I didn't know that, and I kind of thought the kids would have to go to the end of the subdivision, but I didn't know in the dark hours of December, they're crossing 205 to get to the other side to be picked up. And that kind of made me kind of jerk to my attention, I guess. So anyway, that's what they do not get, even though now all of them pay McLendon-Chisholm taxes. So that's my comment on that.
Mr. Goodwin.
I think this is a really tough situation. There's no doubt there's such an immense need out there. I think the flip side to this is just going and fixing roads willy-nilly. Like we're just fixing roads and bailing people out. And I actually don't think that that's what's happening here. When they came to us originally, when this was originally talked about, they just wanted help with securing construction. They couldn't get construction. They couldn't get financing. They could not finance this. And yes, the city is not a bank. The cities also can't be in the business of just paying for roads that aren't theirs. We are asking them to pay it back, and I think they're going to pay it back most of it, minus some opportunity cost. I think it's getting paid back from a couple of scenarios. I don't know if they're up there, but this is a tough situation where I think no matter what you do, somebody's going to be upset, and it's not perfect. But we've got to get this fixed. So,
Thank you. I wrote out a commentary, so I'm just going to read it because I'm always leery about forgetting something. And so as I get older, that becomes more of an issue. So this is my commentary about all this. Glen Acres is one of the oldest neighborhoods in McLendon-Chisholm and was originally platted back in 1967. The subdivision consists of just 36 properties along roughly 1 mile of roadway. The road, an aging asphalt surface with a central culvert, has long been maintained by residents under a developer-created HOA structure that made enforcing assessments nearly impossible. For decades, neighbors contributed voluntarily to keep the road passable, but many of the longtime residents who carried that burden can no longer do so, and repair costs have steadily increased. Today, the road is deteriorated beyond the point of effective maintenance, and the culvert is at risk of failure. As a result, the school district will no longer send buses into the neighborhood, requiring children to walk to Highway 205 for pickup. Delivery services such as FedEx have delayed or declined service, and Meals on Wheels has at times been able to reach certain homes. Emergency responders also face delays and the risk of vehicle damage when attempting to access the neighborhood. Delays that could have serious consequences for residents in need of urgent care. These conditions present clear and immediate exigencies that will only worsen without meaningful action. This petition is a request for a hand up, not a handout. There will be cost-sharing structure in which residents repay the city for a substantial portion of the project with the availability of a long-term payment plan with interest, reducing the city's initial financial impact in the long term. In return, the city would assume responsibility for future maintenance of the roadway. All city taxpayers already fund road maintenance in the neighborhoods of Sonoma Verde and Quail Creek, and the city will be accepting roads from new developments in the future. The ordinance under which this petition is submitted is available to any legacy neighborhood currently responsible for its own road upkeep. A fundamental duty of any city is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of its residents, including ensuring reliable, unobstructed access for emergency services. With that responsibility in mind, I respectfully urge that the council approve this petition with the financial terms that we will present. This is the right thing to do. We can disagree about the mechanics of it, and we can disagree that for years, all neighborhoods were kind of left to their own. But we are a growing city, and with growing city becomes growing responsibilities. And we are laying the foundation for a road department. And we are laying the foundation for the next step that this city's going to grow. Because regardless of how things go forward, growth will never stop. It will continue to grow. So we're trying to get ahead of what will be a problem. Several neighborhoods are over 20, 25 years old. They've been doing a good job of keeping up with their roads. But a lot of those were concrete roads. They were not an asphalt road that Glen Acres was is using at the time now. So I think this is, again, the right thing to do. Now, I would probably, I don't know if we want to take a vote now, or do we want to discuss any more on the financial aspects of this? Actually, I'll tell you, I'm sorry? Okay. Ms. Hildreth, could you come up to the thing?
I look terrible. I've not felt well, so don't look at me.
I get it. I get it. I'll try to keep it short. You understand that there will be a payment plan set up, and that there'll be an interest rate charge if they're not making payment. If any one individual owner is not making payments, there's going to be late fees assessed.
Yes, sir. We actually met with every neighbor.
Okay. And you understand that there would be liens.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you understand that, yes, you understand that the preliminary amount that we have from the bid is what we're basing it on, in addition to the $5,000 that the city spent a couple of years ago to get a concrete study done.
Yes, sir.
And that's factored into the bill as well. And you understand, too, that there could be change orders depending on what's found out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're, as a representative of your community, they're fine with that.
Everybody's been brought up to speed and is agreeable.
Okay. Does anybody on the dais have any questions for Ms. Hildreth? Okay, thank you, Jim.
Just a reminder that you will need a motion before you start voting.
So if there's no
Can I
further
make a
questions-
motion?
Yes, please.
I would like to make a motion to approve the Glen Acre petition with a cost share of 75% for the affected property owners and 25% for the city, with financing of minimum payments at a 3.6% interest rate for 20 years.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem. I think there was, we were supposed to make a comment about the late fees. Did
We
we
did.
include that in the
That
comments?
was part. Yes, you did.
You want to end, I'm sorry, you want to end the motion? No. Yeah, we discussed that. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those, let's vote.
Ms. Hildreth, I know that you've waited a long time for this, and it looks like it's just going to be another couple seconds here.
Okay. Okay, so are we voting again, or? It didn't show up. Okay, I showed it as 5-0 on my screen. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, I'll do that. The old-fashioned way, oh, okay, we'll do that. All right, there we go. Motion passes. Thank you.
Ms. Hildreth, you want to take a screenshot of that in case you...
All right, Moving on to the next item.
Discuss and consider an ordinance approving the planned development on approximately 360.295 acres located along FM 550 and Klutz Drive, adopting concept plan, phasing plan, and development regulations.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Cabona.
At the November 10th, 2025 council meeting, council accepted a voluntary annexation for the Willow Creek project and approved the corresponding development agreement. The development agreement established the development obligations, infrastructure commitments, and phasing requirements tied to the project. Approval of the PD ordinance is the next step in implementing the development agreement. On November 18th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the Willow Creek Planned Development District as presented. Staff does recommend approval of this item as presented. We do have with us this evening representative of the Willow Creek Development to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Hey, Ty, what do you want to say?
As well as our PID petition. So don't have a presentation tonight, but did want to just touch on a few project highlights from our development. As one of the residents said, we are going to be an exclusively 110-foot lot community, so you will have the larger lot feel from the streetscape. Additionally, I think another resident mentioned that Klutz Road is not in good shape right now, and through our discussions with City Council, we've committed to improving Klutz Road all the way from Smith Road on the west side to Highway 205 on the east side. Additionally, we'll have various amenities throughout the project, which include over 3 miles of hike and bike trail. And we recently circulated a letter to City Council outlining our intention to accelerate the parkland dedication and the improvements from Phase 2A of our project to 1C. So we'll be getting that done sooner, as well as collaborating with the city to really figure out what amenities fit best within the city's vision for the park and work together with the city on that front, as well as our open space area. We're open to suggestions. I know we've gotten some feedback on doing a disc golf course over there, as well as some mountain bike trails. So we'll be sure to incorporate those aspects if they fit within our budget, which we'll make work. Other than that, as Fabrice said, we did receive a positive recommendation from staff on our project, as well as got our development agreement approved at the last city council meeting, and did get a unanimous approval from P&Z. So with that, we ask for your support tonight, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I'll go down the line. Mr. London.
Appreciate it. So as a lot of people know, I was opposed to this from the beginning. We did meet, we've had long conversations, and I have to give you credit. You have definitely done a lot and given a lot to the city and for the residents and for everyone involved. I understand the density argument, right? And I even brought that to you, and we had good discussions about that. I really appreciate how you're willing to work with us, how you've been, doing what you've been doing at our request, and even going above and beyond on some of the things that we've asked. So, I know that I've been hard on you guys, and I appreciate, you taking it on the chin from time to time, but also, standing there and just telling me, this is the way it is, this is how we can do this, and so I'm really thankful for that, because we want to be a council in a city that, yes, we want to be developer friendly because we know that developers are coming, but we also have to hold the line on some of the density, some of the building requirements and things like that. So I appreciate you're willing to work with us and to give us some of that leverage where we asked for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Towery.
Yeah, so I just want to, I want to say that, I do take density in the city really seriously. That's kind of one of the big things to me when I came on, just simply because just over the years, I've seen Rockwall grow around me, and different cities around me. As some know, some don't, I've been in Rockwall since '86. So everywhere looks just a whole lot different. And the unique thing about McLendon-Chisholm to me is it's one of the few little areas left in Rockwall that, it looks somewhat like my childhood. And I love it here. And I want to raise my family here. So I do take it seriously when dealing with developers, commercial and residential. The longer that I've been in this seat, the more I've realized that there is give and take, and you do have to work together. There is consequences to not doing that. I'm finding it is harder. It is very hard, if impossible now, to just straight up say we're not going to grow. There's no growth. We're going to stop it right here. It's not reality. So I do try to take it serious when I sit down, and I feel like, and I appreciate developers who are willing to sit there and work with us, who understand our needs. Roads are our needs. Infrastructure is way behind growth. I 100% agree with that. And we have a plan for many, many streets to start getting fixed and brought up to speed. And we're doing our best to work the infrastructure situations out, because that is one of the biggest thing I think that anybody that's been in Rockwall for a long time realize. I mean, shoot, it's like 45 minutes from one side of Rockwall to the other. It just used to never be that way. So I don't want anyone to think that we take this lightly. We do see needs that need to be met, but also understand that we have to think about how we want our city to look, the type of builders we want in here, the type of development, the things such as parks that might not financially make sense on paper. It's but it's needs for communities that have families and children, and I appreciate Councilman Goodwin's work on that effort and bringing some of these needs to our community. And so, yeah, I mean, that's how I feel on this.
Thank you. Mr. Dean?
I do not.
Mr. Goodwin?
I think most everybody remembers I was a no on this as well. I wanted to stick to the comp plan, 1 house per acre. I think the flip side that I've learned is if we fight, we may end up with something worse. They annexed in, they could have stayed in the ETJ, and they can do whatever they want out there pretty much. So working with them, I'm realizing is a better idea, and they have really worked with us. This is not perfect, I get it. It's more houses than the 1 acre lots. With that being said, I sit in the same traffic that everybody else does. I understand. It sucks, and this is 400 more cars. I get it. I went to them and said, you guys are putting you're bringing something to the community that, hey, these are great houses. They look wonderful. It's a nice neighborhood. If you're buying there, hey, great life. What about the rest of us? And they were responsive. They have done a lot as far as giving us parks, giving us control of some of the floodplains so we can build trails. They do want to come into this community and add to it. There will be things for this community. So I really appreciate a developer that will work with us. They could have come in and kind of try to do whatever they want. They really have sat down and heard out everything. I thought that, maybe the park wasn't going to reflect what the community needed. They're totally open to helping us with that. It's not about their plan, it's about what's good for the community. It is a business, they are here to build homes, but they also want to make sure that they are being reasonable members of the community, and I respect that. So.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwin. Ty, can you kind of talk about maybe some of the outreach that you've done to talk to the neighbors that would be along Klutz Road that may be impacted by the development that's coming in?
And we've been working closely with staff, but it is an ongoing effort because we are going to be making, I think, around a little under 2 miles of improvements along Klutz Road. So there will be properties that will be affected in the interim. But we've been working with staff to kind of put together some communication documents that we can share to some of these landowners, just letting them know what's coming ahead. And in fact, we actually our original plan was to do a divided section for the roadway, meaning that the road wouldn't be in the exact same place as it is today. It'd be a little bit closer to the frontage of these property owners. But in talking with the mayor and council members and staff, we've decided to go with an undivided section so that the impact of these property owners will be as minimal as you can get it. The road will be in the exact same place. It'll just be brand new. It'll be a little bit wider with curb and gutter and underground storm system, and then lime stabilized subgrade. So it'll be built to city standards and be a great benefit and asset to the city.
Okay, thank you. I'll just say, kind of echo what's been said. There's been several iterations of this project, and as we've talked with the developer, they've come back with things that we've asked for, and they've worked with us. And as was mentioned, infrastructure is a big deal. Roads are a big deal. So if we can find a way to avoid having to do a bond, I think it's important to consider that when we have a developer that's willing to work with us. I'll just end it with that. Thank you. All right. Yeah, so I guess if there's not any other comments from staff, okay. With that, I'll take a motion for approval. No, we do have a motion, so let's take a vote. Motion passes 5-0. Next, 9.4.
Discuss and consider a resolution authorizing and creating the Willow Creek Public Improvement District.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mr. Cabona.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, this is actually a companion item. You might recall that on November 10th of this year, you approved the petition to establish the Willow Creek Public Improvement District submitted by Willow Creek 360 LP, which is the owner of 100% of the properties within the proposed district boundaries. With the petition approved, the next step required under Chapter 372 of Texas Local Government Code is for the City Council to formally create the PED, Public Improvement District, by resolution. Creation of the PED allows the city and developer to move forward with preparing a service and assessment plan, which later will define the specific assessment methodology, benefit allocation, and financing structure for the public improvement district associated with the Willow Creek development. Staff recommends approval of the resolution as presented, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Fabrice. Any questions, Mr. London?
No.
Mr. Goodwin?
No.
Okay, so then I'll ask for a vote. Motion passes. Next is 9.5. Angela.
Discuss and consider an ordinance of the City of McLendon-Chisholm, Texas, amending Section 3.01.001 of Article 3.01 of Chapter 3, Building Regulations of the Code of Ordinances by amending the fee schedule, providing a repealing clause, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Angela. Mr. Cabona.
I'm going to defer this to our Finance Director, Mr. Jeff White.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Staff has updated our fees and charges based on some recent changes, both internally and externally. This includes updating forced mows fees, verbiage, now that we handle them internally as opposed to having a contractor do it. Updating it so fees are based on updated charges being sent to us from contractors, and adding permit fees based on the need due to incoming commercial properties. The attached fees and charges sheet that you have in the agenda has all the updates and additions highlighted for your reference. With that, are there any questions or any fees that you'd like me to go in detail about?
Could you just summarize what fees are being updated?
Absolutely.
You don't have to go in the number, just
Okay.
what
Yeah,
areas.
absolutely. So the first one on the sheet or on the fees is the commercial new construction. Our previous fees and charges just said basically that there was a fee that Burgess would have to review the plans before they gave us the fee. They have given us set fees now, so we can in turn give those to our commercial developers up front. So that's been added. We also added a plan review fee, re-review fee. Burgess was having a high number of incidents where contractors were submitting plans. They would get out there to do the review, and the plans would be for a different property. So they were having to then come back another time to do them. So they are starting to charge that fee, therefore we've added it. Next up is under the food establishment permit fees, food truck health inspection. We've updated that as it was not covering the cost that we were being charged by the contractor that we were using, the previous amount. We've also added a sign permit and a monument sign permit. We had, again, another fee that wasn't on our fees and charges, but we would get charged whenever we'd have someone go out and inspect those. So again, just trying to make sure that we're not paying for those fees ourselves. Under sewer and wastewater fees, we did add a late payment fee. That was on our fees and charges previously. It went away for a little bit. We noticed it, so we wanted to get that back on there. It is the same fee that the city has always charged. We're just adding it back onto this list. I guess one of the bigger changes that's on here is solid waste and recycling fees. We got our annual renewal from CWD based on our contract, that they can renew it annually based on CPI, their cost to dump at the dump, and fuel. Overall, that went up at about 5%. So we did not add any additional. We went up 5% as well to keep it equivalent to what they had. So the specific fees are listed on there. The next one is the forced mow fees. This is one of the ones that was kind of mentioned in the background. Previously, we had a contractor that was doing forced mows, so we did whatever they charged us plus an administrative fee for the time that staff spent with sending out notices, trying to collect payments, things like that. We have now changed that to a fixed rate per acre plus that administrative fee now that we are doing that internally instead of paying a contractor. This allows anyone that is having a forced mow done to know exactly what the amount's going to be prior to us receiving that bill from the contractor. So it allows us to be more transparent with that. And then I think the last thing on there is a vendor registration fee, and that is just something that we've never had before in the past. I think it was just geared towards vendors at city events if we wanted to charge a fee, having that option available. And that is all of them. If you have any further questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions, Mr. London?
The only question I have is on the vendor registration fee for any of the city events or anything. By us having this listed in here, does this now make it a mandatory, or is this something that we can still do optionally for, like when we did the Christmas Village or anything?
I'll defer to City Manager.
Yes, by including it in there, it makes it mandatory. However, the City Council can always, at your discretion, we can always choose to waive those things, but I think it's good to have them in there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Towery.
I just want to clarify on the sign fees. Is the sign just standard sign? Is that for the signs that are attached to buildings?
Yes, those would be included. Actually, that applies to that specifically.
Specifically?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't know if we need to be more specific, because as of the new ordinance, the only other sign would be monument. So I don't know if we need to specifically, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's probably on the staff side, but I just wanted to confirm. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the other one wasn't temporary or something like that. Okay.
Mr. Dean.
No, I appreciate Finance Director White's explanation of previous fees. I needed to know that. That was going to be my question, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Goodwin.
I'm good.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we'll take a vote. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to 9.6.
Discuss and consider an ordinance amending Article 4 zoning districts, Section 4 through 8, general business districts by setting hours of operation, regulating noise and light and sound in the general business GB zoning district for restaurants.
Okay. Mr. Cabona.
This item was actually added to the agenda at the request of Councilmember Towery. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the item. I'm going to defer to Councilmember Towery for any additional comments on that.
Yeah, so I started working on this just because I saw a need for, again, we're trying to get ahead of things that we see are potential issues that could be coming. Trying to protect citizens with commercial growth coming in. This was something that I wanted to kind of have in place as we grow. With this ordinance, there would be a buffer within 300 feet of residential. There will be sound, hours of operation, lighting, that we'll be able to actually enforce. Like I said, this is just, one of some things that, as we start to go through ordinances and try to get ahead of the commercial, where we're seeing where we need to have a little more specification, so.
Thank you. Mr. London.
I appreciate this, I really do. As someone who has not frequently, but occasionally contacted the Sheriff's Department because of, parties going until 1 o'clock in the morning, and getting to hear the bass from some of my neighbors' stereos that are outside. I'm not looking at you, you're my neighbor, but you're further away. She's okay. So I really do appreciate this. Now, we don't have a lot of commercial around us, especially restaurants and things where there's that, but the idea of getting ahead of this, I think, is the right path, because we know that this is coming. We know that there are going to be these types of establishments where there will be an outside venue, there will be outside speakers, whether it's, just loud music or just loud people. So I'm fully in support of this. The only thing that I would like to see, and maybe it's a small change, Fabrice, you let me know, in the opening of the ordinance in the first part, the last sentence, providing a savings clause, providing for publication in the official newspaper, and providing an effective date. Since we don't have a newspaper, I'm hoping we can modify that to be on the city website.
We actually do publish these ordinances, at least a caption in the paper
Which
as
paper?
required by state.
I don't get any papers.
It's published in the Rockwall and in Royce City.
Okay. Thank you.
But you can put it on the website if we request it, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Let's do that.
All right, thank you.
You already spoke. Mr. Dean?
Nothing to add. Just thanks Councilman Towery for getting ahead of this.
Mr. Goodwin?
Thank you, Councilman Towery, for doing all the work that you're doing. You're really doing a lot for kind of looking forward in the city. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll just, add to the praise. I greatly appreciate the forward thinking. We're taking care of problems that have been growing in the past, and we're looking ahead to try to prevent problems. And I think that's the mark of a good council. So, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll take a vote. Motion passes 5-0. All right, 9.7.
Discuss and consider an ordinance ordering a general election to be held on May the 2nd, 2026, for the purpose of electing at-large a mayor, council member place 2, council member place 4, and council member place 6, authorizing a joint election order with other Rockwall County political subdivisions, authorizing the mayor or city administrator to enter into an agreement with Rockwall County for the election, providing the manner and means of carrying out said election, designating polling locations and hours, providing for early voting, and providing bilingual election requirements, providing for notice of election, and providing for publication of the notice for the election.
Thank you, Angela. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second? Who's the second? Mr. London. All right, Mr. Cabona.
No comments on this. Ms. Angela, you want to say, do you have any comments?
Okay, as I understand it, this is a required ordinance that we have to do to set the elections for the upcoming next May. There'll be, as mentioned, place 2, place 4, place 6. Place 6 would be and the mayor, and place 6 would be for a 2-year term. Place 2 and 4 per the charter will be a 3-year term. The mayor will also be a 3-year term. And early voting is April 20th through the 28th. And we'll be having that here, correct? Is that the plan? Okay. All right. Any
And
questions?
by the way, Mayor Pro Tem, kudos to Angela. I got this in the email, and I was like, are we having an election? Has something happened to somebody? Did somebody quit? And she's like, no, I just want to get out ahead of it, because normally this is several months away. So kudos to Angela for being in ahead of it. She's also got the 2027 and 2028 election ordinances coming in January. So.
Nice. I like that. All right, Mr. London, you have anything?
I'm good.
Mr. Tower? Mr. Dean? Mr. Goodwin? All right, let's make a vote. Motion passes 5-0.
Discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to approve a change order in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for roof repairs as part of the remodel of the old fire station building on FM 548, and authorizing the city manager to approve future change orders up to 10% of the original contracted amount.
Thank you. Mr. Cabona.
Deferring it to Mr. White.
On November 10th, 2025, City Council awarded the request for proposal for the remodel of the former fire station into the new Public Works building to Berghauser Construction. Contingency budget was not included in the agenda item accompanying that proposal. During the heavy rainfall on the morning of November 24th, 2025, a roof leak was discovered requiring repairs that were not part of the original RFP scope. Additionally, staff is requesting authorization for the city manager to approve future change orders up to 10% of the original contract amount. I also have for you, I went by yesterday and took some pictures to show you guys some of the progress that's being made over there. So if you'll take a look at the TVs. So this is the floor plan. And I know it's kind of hard to see on here, but you walk into a reception area, then there's kitchenette and bathroom on the left-hand side. The three rooms on the right-hand side will be offices. So we'll have offices for 3 people plus a reception desk that we can house a 4th person in if needed. And I show you that so that these next pictures will make a little bit of sense, because it has been kind of gutted and framed already. So they've removed the Bay 1 door and boarded it up for the time being until they get that redone. This is when you first walk in. So this is the reception area. It's that first little room. Right behind that is where the kitchenette will be, and then the bathroom in the back. And then we've got the 3 offices. You can see on the right-hand side of this picture, that's where that bay door was. They've already framed out, there will be a window in that front office so that there will be some windows on the front. There'll actually be a couple small windows in the reception area as well so that people can see when someone's coming in. And then middle office and rear office, which does have a door also going directly into the drive-through bay so that our public works team can get in there and get equipment in and out without having to go outside in case of bad weather or anything like that. So also just making it easier for them when they store their equipment in there to kind of walk straight in. As you can see, all the framing is done. The ceilings went on yesterday, or they finished them yesterday. So that's what you can see in the pictures. Over the next week, we're going to get wired for IT and security systems. We will get electrical in hopefully next week. They were supposed to be in today putting AC units. And then within a couple weeks, they'll be able to start putting up drywall and the insulation and all the things that go on with that, and then move forward from there. So just wanted to give you guys an update of kind of where it's at. This contractor's been great to work with, and they started moving literally the day after this agenda item was approved. So with that, I mentioned the change order that we received for the roof repair was $25,000. Unfortunately, the material that's used on the roof is no longer available, so they were having to do a little bit more extensive than he was hoping to. But that's what that is for. And then the original bid, or the original proposal was $310,000, so the request for the additional 10%, so that would be up to an additional $31,000 in change orders without having to come back to council, because he's obviously having to wait to do the roof repair until tonight, even though we've known about it for a couple weeks. So just trying to help prevent delays potentially in the future if we have any other small issues come up.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council, Mr. London?
Did he happen to mention, so it's not a replacement, it's a repair? Do we know how big that repair area?
I believe it was a replacement.
It is a replacement then, okay, okay.
I can look that up if you want while y'all are talking, but I believe it was.
Okay, I just, assuming going back metal roof, same stuff.
Yeah, actually the change order is included in the packet, and it is replacing the metal roof on the building to fix leaks.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Mr. Dean?
I'm good.
Mr. Goodman?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good too. All right. So I need to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to discuss and consider, well, we've already discussed, so I move.
Second.
That was my mistake, folks. Okay. All in favor, go ahead and vote. I should say, just go ahead and vote. Either way. And motion passes 5-0. Next is 9.9.
Discuss and consider an ordinance abandoning a portion of Pullen Road approximately 2,180 feet from FM 550 to Horizon Lakes Boulevard and declaring that such property is unnecessary for use by the public.
Mr. Cabona.
The purpose of this item is to formally vacate and abandon the existing Pullen Road right-of-way segment between FM 550 and Horizon Lakes Boulevard, no longer required for public transportation purposes. This segment is located within the Horizon Lakes development. The property entered the city limits through a development agreements that included an annexation agreement and the associated preliminary plat originally approved by the city has since been modified twice. In June 2025, the existing Pullen Road was formally closed through traffic. It's my understanding that the former city council, prior to this development agreement, this road actually belonged to the county. So the road was annexed as part of the annexation deal that the former city council negotiated with the developer at the time. Along with that, also a preliminary plat was also approved at the time that reflects this road as being removed from the subdivision. So essentially, this is more of a formality to formally vacate this segment of the road. We have an exhibit. I don't know if we're able to show it here. So that, no, we can't. Staff recommends approval of this item. We also have with us this evening a representative from TNP, the engineering firm responsible for this project, Mr. Matt Atkins, who's available to answer any questions you might have at this time and possibly provide some additional background to this item as well.
Thank you, sir, for coming. And if the microphone is turned on?
Still on.
Let me know what you think.
Yeah, thank you, Reese, for a very good explanation there, Mayor. Matt Atkins with T. Nolan Perkins, TMP, 825 Waters Creek Boulevard in Allen, Texas, representing Huffines Development and Colin Huffines is here too, if you'd like to speak with him about this. We are coming to you tonight just requesting a formality of redoing the Pullen Road right away and just abandoning that right away that has been created for that road. And then we will, Pullen Road will be relocated and become part of Horizon Lakes Boulevard, come out to FM 550 at a place a little further up the hill. It will then come out at a spot on the top of the hill with better sight visibility and at a 90-degree angle with FM 550. And then Pullen Road will no longer exist and will be homes right there over the top of it with another access to 550 just further at a little safer spot too and at a 90-degree angle from FM 550. So this was all contemplated with the preliminary plat that was and concept plan and everything that was done with the development agreement and annexation agreement when we formalized all those back a few years ago.
Thank you. Any comments or questions, Mr. London?
No, it just shows that portion going from 550 up to the middle where that roundabout is, basically, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And that's just a quick claim that we're doing there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But we're only abandoning about half of that from 550 all the way up to where that roundabout is located.
Right.
Yeah.
That is correct. And then currently, From there on to the extent of the property is getting reconstructed. That's why the road is shut down, and it'll be a 37-foot wide roadway coming into there that then will enter that roundabout.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Towery? Mr. Dean?
No.
Mr. Goodwin?
No.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we already got a motion out on the floor, so, did we? Yes. Okay, just want to make sure. In that case, everybody vote. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Alfonso. All right, next is 9.10. Angela?
Receive an update from staff regarding ambulance service operation.
Thank you. Mr. Cabona?
We'll turn this over to Chief Stout.
I know we've had multiple conversations talking about ambulance service and advancing our EMS capabilities with the city. Just giving y'all an update. We have multiple options. We pursued a lot of options to see how we could advance our EMS capabilities in the fire department. I will tell you this is not the end goal. We have higher aspirations here, but we do, in conversations with Fabrice and several of the council members, we believe that this is the most prudent next step. I can go as far in depth as y'all want to, but the overarching theme here is we are pursuing increasing our EMS capabilities from BLS, which is basic life support, to ALS, advanced life support. We will be doing this what we call ALS engines, meaning we will not have an ambulance in-house, but we are increasing our EMS capabilities for our staff. So the individuals that are currently paramedics, they will be able to operate as paramedics out of our existing equipment. As of right now, I'm not going to commit to any dates. As of right now, we are working with Rockwall EMS, developing the protocols now. The next, I'm not going to say hang up, but the next delay in this time frame is getting our DEA number. As we all know, the government's been shut down for a while, and the DEA does have a backlog, so we're working through that. Hopefully, we're looking at a few months, and we will be ALS and actually operating, so our paramedics can then establish IVs, push some medications, not all the medications that an ambulance can push. But we still will be using Rockwall EMS as our transport agency, and I think that's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. London?
I just want to make sure that everyone is aware, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, on this, this is not going to increase any of our head count because this service actually provides some of those folks that are needed. Is that correct? For on-box or on-engine?
I think you're thinking about one of the other options that we are pursuing. But you are correct. We will be doing this with our current staff. We will not be increasing staff. So.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chief. Can you, going back to the medications, I know we have an end goal. At that end goal of being ALS engine, will we have, how do I state this? The medication list that we need, I mean, is it going to basically be everything that you were hoping for, that we're wanting? Was it, in other words, I know we've had some discussions about protocols that surrounding cities are using. Are they going to be comparable?
They will be comparable to surrounding cities.
Okay.
the question of whether or not we are getting the medications that we want is a very loaded question.
Sure.
Basically, the threshold here is we don't, because we are not a transport agency, because we don't have the ambulance to put the patient in and take them to the hospital, we are limited to what we can and can't do in the field, no matter what, whether we have the greatest protocols or not, because I'm trying to think of a medication to give you as an example, but anything that we do in the field, we need the capabilities to reverse,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
And there's a lot of things, like you're familiar with the vernacular RSI, rapid sequence intubation. Basically, if we're gonna intubate somebody, that requires a paralytic, and at that point, as soon as you push that paralytic, they're not breathing unless you breathe for them. That is not a capability that we want if we can't transport.
No.
So it's things like that. I believe, again, don't hold me to this until the protocols come out. Schedule 4 is what we're looking at.
Okay. Okay. Just, and on that, just to kind of bring some people up to speed that might not be aware of why we started down this path. Currently, in McLendon-Chisholm, we are BLS response, which means even though we have staffed paid paramedics, we can only operate at a basic life support standard until ambulances arrive. And as we know, depending on where you live and as short-staffed as our EMS system can be at times, that could be quite a while. That was something that a few of us council members kind of noticed as we came on that was just completely unacceptable for our city. And so the big thing, and kind of what I guess would go into my next question is, do you feel that when we become ALS, we'll be able to run the 12 leads, we'll be able to do some of the major, we'll be able to push some of the major drugs that can be of essence and time, you know, for some of these major events?
Yes. Initial critical care, let's put it that way.
Correct. Yeah.
As an example, you're talking about the 12 lead. I think it was 2 years ago, we purchased 3 life packs. It was advantageous for us to purchase them at that time because of the cost. There was a new update that was coming, and I think we got 3 of the life packs for, I think it was $65,000. And the newest iteration of that are $75,000 a piece. So it made sense for us to purchase those at those time, and they were tools that we could use. But as an example of what we're currently operating as to what we will be operating as, we can legally use the 12 lead. We cannot interpret or provide medical care based off of that 12 lead. A 12 lead is a echocardiogram, an EKG. It looks at the electric rhythms of the heart. So where we currently are is we can do an EKG, but legally we can't interpret it. And we don't have the medications to treat whatever we're interpreting. When we go ALS, we can then interpret that rhythm strip, and within our protocols, assuming it's not, you know, Schedule 2 narcotic or something like that, we can take the first steps of treating that patient.
Yeah, and I think one of the critical first steps as a paramedic, when you come on scene, immediately, if there's any kind of noticeable cardiac complaint or chest pains, et cetera, I'm going to hook a patient onto a 12 lead and run that strip. And as a paramedic, if I see a cardiac event, I can immediately notify cath labs and et cetera to be on standby, which, you know, with cardiac or even events, stroke events, things like that, where minutes matter. This is just really important to me that our city has. This is one of those, like, at the minimum, we should be ALS response. So I appreciate you heading this on, because it's been something very important to me, and I appreciate you like taking this and going with it. Thank you.
Like I said, this is not the end goal. We have higher aspirations, but this is the appropriate first step. And bring it back to a financial point. Currently we have one paramedic per shift on average. A lot of our part-timers are paramedics that work at other agencies full-time. Right now, we're paying individuals, we actually have a paramedic pay. We are paying individuals to be paramedics that we legally cannot allow them to perform at that service. So,
Mr. Dean,
Nothing for me.
Mr. Goodwin.
Appreciate the update. This is something that was very important when we came on, and just appreciate all the work and the updates. This is great to hear.
I would like to say that the majority of this work has been Captain Scott Martinez and his EMS crew, which is Captain Scott Martinez, firefighter Scott Horton, and a couple others that have been assisting with that, but this has been head up, and he's been handling all the logistics, so I want to give him credit for that.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any comments, but it sounded pretty good there, Chief. All right, that's not an action item, it's just an update. So now we're on to council member reports and announcements. Mr. London.
Appreciate it. So I just want to remind everybody, this Thursday, December 11th at 9 a.m., we're having a demo of what is known as and is called an asphalt zipper. This is a piece of machinery that is hopefully going to be something that will help us with a lot of our road work. We're going to meet here at 9 a.m. at City Hall, and then we're going to head over and we're actually going to demo this and have them demo it on the first, I think, 15 to 20 feet of the entrance into Glen Acres. So we'll be able to see how this really works in a real-world, real-time situation to make something, hopefully, that'll meet it here. The same day, let's go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Councilmember London. That demo has been relocated to another city. The reason for that is because they required some additional equipments that we simply did not have. So, Chief, what city is that they're doing the demo?
All right, scratch that.
I believe it's DeSoto, and Mark Woodruff is going. He is going to take videos for us, pictures, everything. Basically what it came down to is we were told that the equipment, the new tractor that we had, would be sufficient for that, the zipper machine.
Okay.
And trying to put together the logistics of actually getting ready for this, we were told that we actually needed a wheel loader to do this. And county didn't have a wheel loader that we could use. Basically, it came down to we would have to rent one. And anybody that knows what a wheel loader is, we would have to pay for delivery service for a semi, probably an operator. Like, just to do the demo for that one piece of equipment was going to cost us about $2,000.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll scratch that one off there. Okay, so same day, Thursday, December 11th, 4 p.m. is the annual Toys for Tots Toy Drive at Standard Service. This is the event of the year for Rockwall County. I hope everybody can make it. You're going to have Marines from the, not just Marine Corps League and the Marine Corps Reserve, but you're going to have Rockwall Zone JROTC there. They are a phenomenal group if you haven't seen them. And then the only other thing that I have is on Tuesday, January 13th, is going to be the baby box blessing over at the firehouse. And I don't know if there's anyone else can talk about it. That's at 3 p.m. Yes. And that's it for me. Thank you. Oh, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Mr. Towery? Mr. Dean?
I'm good as well.
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Rosas, near Highway 30. Going to have a special guest, Frank New, Judge Frank New, speaking about development in the county and just kind of giving us an update of what's going on and what they're doing. So this is the second Wednesday, breakfast with the council. Come on out, ask some questions, get updates, and Merry Christmas.
Mr. Cabona?
Just a brief reminder that we are still seeking volunteers to serve on various city boards and committees, including Economic Development Committee, Finance and Audit Board, Park Board, as well as we're needing an alternate on the P&Z, Planning and Zoning Commission. If anybody out there is interested, please, there is an application on the city website, or you could just contact us and we'll guide you through the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela, you have anything? Mr. Hollow?
No, sir.
All right. Chief? Peyton? All right, Jeff? Okay. I'll just add, I went to Emergency Services Corporation meeting at the county. Royce City had pulled out of the EMS contract, so they're having to redo the bylaws, and we're figuring out the cost, and that's still a work in progress. So, and I think I was invited to Councilman Goodwin's deal for tomorrow, so I'll be there as well. So, anyway, if there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned at 8:22.